In this video, you're gonna learn exactly what cold email marketing is, how it works, and how you can use it to build your business relationships. And you wanna make sure you watch this video until the end because cold email is one of the most underrated but efficient ways to build business relationships with high-level decision makers to sell your products and services. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and let's get going. Now, what exactly is cold email marketing? And the definition that we are gonna use is an email sent to someone without prior permission or contact. And so that just means like when you're sending an email to someone who doesn't know who you are, you didn't tell them ahead of time, you didn't meet them in person, and you're sending them an email to try to build a business relationship. Now, this is gonna be very different from spam, where spam is more like you're just trying to get something out of the person without actually providing any value. A cold email comes from a place of good intentions where you're genuinely trying to build a legit business relationship. You're not trying to scam anybody or anything like that. So an example of, when someone would send a cold email is, let's say you are starting as a salesperson working at a software company. Well, if you're someone who doesn't have any business connections and you're just getting started in your career, well, how do you actually sell your product? And how you do that is you basically make a list of all the people you want to work with and you send them a cold email, right? They don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, but if you offer some kind of value and you give a reason for why someone should take a meeting with you, well, now you can actually build a business relationship even if you had no prior connection. And cold email marketing, if you think about it, is really a form of marketing in general, right? So for example, let's say you have a Facebook ad, right? You're scrolling through Facebook and you see an advertisement, it sounds interesting, maybe you click on the ad, you go into a website, maybe you buy a product or service, okay? Now, when it comes to cold email, it's a little different in that you're not on Facebook, but instead you're sending an email to someone's email inbox and you basically take up that real estate space. And if it's in their inbox, they're of course going to see it. They may not open it, but some people will open it, some people will read it, and some people will respond and want to take a meeting with you and try to build a business relationship if you are offering some sort of value. Now, to succeed with cold email, the first thing you gotta really understand is defining what your goals are. Depending on your situation, you may be using cold email for different situations. So if you are, let's say, a salesperson, obviously you want to generate B2B sales. Or if you are working in business development and it's your job to, generate strategic partnerships with other businesses, that's also another use case for using cold email. For other people, you might want to be featured on Forbes or different magazines, a blog post, or be interviewed, right? Cold email is another way to build relationships with these platforms. So no matter what your goal is, cold email might be a method you can use to actually get an appointment or a meeting with someone you want to talk to. And the rule of thumb is that cold email works extremely well when it comes to business relationships, right? Meaning when one business or one entity or a person wants to build a relationship with another business or another entity, and they have to have some kind of relationship before there's any, transaction or money exchanging hands happening, cold email is one of the best ways to do it. Now, cold email does not work so well when it comes to trying to sell, let's say, sneakers or doing e-commerce or something like that, because if you send someone a cold email asking them to buy, you haven't built any trust and it's kind of weird to get an email like that, and that's basically spam. However, if you come in with the perspective of, hey, I admire what you do and I want to build a relationship with you to see if it makes sense for us to work together one day, well, that's where cold email is going to really shine. Now that you define your goal when it comes to cold email, the next step is actually to build your hit list. Now, this is one of the most overlooked strategies when it comes to succeeding with cold email, so make sure you pay attention to this one. So when it comes to cold emailing, you want to really define who you are trying to target, right? And that's also gonna determine how many companies are going to be on your hit list. And a hit list is basically just a list. It could be on Excel or a CRM or software. It doesn't really matter where the list exists, but you make a list of people that you want to work with. So for example, if you wanted to, let's say, work with the Fortune 500, right? Well, if there's only 500 companies on the Fortune 500, so your list is gonna be 500 different companies and all the decision makers working at that company, okay? However, if you are selling something that's more of a commodity and you don't really care who you sell it to, maybe you're selling to every yoga studio in America, right? There might be thousands of these yoga studios. Well, your list may contain thousands of yoga studios and all the business owners of these studios, right? So, depending on your strategy, your sale, and who you are trying to target, you might have a huge list of people that you can potentially work with, or you might have a small list of people that you can work with, right? And which one is better? Well, it just depends on what you're selling and who you are selling it to. Obviously, the more high-end, expensive products and services, you're gonna go for larger companies, and for things that are more on the lower price and can be more applicable to more businesses in your target market, well, you might have a larger list and try to reach out to as many people as possible, okay? But the most important thing is define who you are going after and make sure that these people can actually potentially buy your product or service so that your response rate can actually be higher and you don't seem like someone who's just spamming everybody they find. Now, the next step of the process, once you define who you are trying to target, is you need to understand what are the key ingredients of a cold email, okay? So there are gonna be many different ingredients and it can be very nuanced, but the main ones you gotta focus, especially if you're just getting started, are these 3 key ingredients. Number 1 is your subject line. Number 2, your body. And number 3, your call to action. So let's go ahead and break these down. Now, when you're sending a cold email, the first thing that people are going to see is the subject line, right? What is your email actually about? Are you inspiring curiosity, or are you giving a reason or demonstrating value enough so that someone will actually click on your cold email and open it, okay? So a lot of cold emails that people send don't even get opened because it looks like spam or it looks like something that, they don't wanna read. However, if you're able to write the right message, then they're gonna open it. The next step, once someone opens your email, is that you want them to actually read it, right? Because if they open it and they don't read it, it doesn't do you any good. So that's where the body's gonna come in, right? So what are you actually writing in that email? How are you demonstrating value? Are you talking about somebody's pain points, their challenges? Are you showing that you can solve these pains, right? So these are the things that you really want to emphasize when it comes to writing your body of a cold email. Now, like I said before, depending on your situation, whether you're doing B2B sales or business development, right? Your body's gonna slightly change. You might use different templates, but essentially the goal is the same. It's to get the person to read the entire email, right? Because once they read line by line, the first line, the second line, the third line, the fourth line, you start getting an idea of who you are and what you're about. The last key phase of a cold email is your call to action. In the end of the email, what do you want people to do? Do you want them to book a meeting or time to talk on your calendar? Do you want them to tell you what time they're available and you can schedule that later on? Or do you just need a quick reply on the email and maybe that's all you're looking for, right? So no matter what the case is, at the end of the email, you want to have some type of call to action, okay? So the whole purpose of the subject line, the body, and all the things that you're writing is to get them to take an action at the end. So you have to be crystal clear on what you want to happen at the end of that email or when they finish reading that email so that you would know whether or not a cold email actually works. If you don't have a call to action, don't expect anything to come from an email because you didn't really give them direction on what they should do next. And so with that said, that is going to be cold email marketing in a nutshell. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. And let me know in the comments, what's your #1 takeaway that you got from this video? I'm always curious to know what you think. And if you want to learn more about cold email when it comes to what to write in the cold email, the subject line, and cold email strategy, make sure you check out my other videos. And with that said, my name is Patrick Yang, and I will see you guys in the next one.